welcome to episode 20 of the BlokeBusters podcast. Woo! I'm Brian. Hey, episode 20. Yeah. I'm Brian.
I'm Paul.
And today is July 1st, 2013, and today we're going to be discussing apocalypse / end of the world films and using This Is the End as a jumping off point. And just to be clear, end of the world films are not Katherine Heigl films, which only make me wish the world was ending. So, just, you know.
Yeah, and we're also steering clear of zombie apocalypse because technically that's more of a humanity threat rather than the world is ending.
Yes. So whether you take a biblical context from it or just an oh shit, the world's going to end context from it, that's kind of what we're going to delve into. But first and foremost, we need to give a big thank you to my friend back home, Dustin Bell, for his amazing artwork of our new logo.
Yes, we forgot to put something on Facebook about that. He's been bugging us.
I think it's been amended, though. I believe
yes,
you amended
it has.
that. Yes,
it has been amended.
But it's check it out if you haven't. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to it, you're seeing it.
Yeah,
but it's pretty much says everything we need it to say, and it looks beautiful. Yeah. Love the colors, love the design. And we got a few different designs to choose from. Yeah. So I don't think Paul and I have any real dates yet, but look for that to be in another form sometime in the future.
Yes.
In some form of merchandise or what have you.
We'll kind of get on that as and when we can.
Yes, exactly. Very happy, very pleased with it, and thank you very much again, Dustin.
Yes, very big thank you.
All right. So what the hell is this movie about, Paul?
Well, I don't know. Let's have a very quick look here. I'll read off of both screens here at the same time. It's a big skill, but I think I've got it down.
All right.
While attending while attending a party at James Franco's house, Seth Rogen, Jay Baruchel, and many other celebrities are faced with the apocalypse. Yeah, that's all that's written down. That's all you really need, I think, for this film.
I think I didn't even need to know that to be interested in it.
Yeah, just leave out faced with the apocalypse. Just them and many other celebrities.
They're just having a house party. I would have watched that film.
Well, yeah, so this film is basically just a whole bunch of celebrities doing a whole bunch of celebrity things, and wouldn't you know it, the world comes to an end. I mean, if it had to happen, it probably would happen at a Hollywood party, I'm sure.
And obviously, the great thing is they play who you think they are, or the public's perception of them, possibly. Like Franco is a pretentious douche, into art and
and
very serious.
Although there are some where they clearly are doing big parodies of themselves. With Michael Cera, for instance, he's sort of playing who he's typecast as in film, as well as the fact that he's taking his fame for granted. So,
and just because this is a genre episode, I do want to remind you this will be a huge spoiler. This is the end spoiler. So if you haven't seen the film, stop now and see it. Because we are going to be talking about some of the biggest spoilers, a la Bill Murray and Zombieland type spoilers.
Again, spoiler.
Spoiler. Oh shit, he said that film.
I think we actually went through with that one on the previous one as well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, on the Rom-Zom-Com one.
That one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, also, if you want to talk to us about this film or any other film whatsoever, you can actually get a hold of us on Twitter at BlokeBusters or on Facebook.com/BlokeBusters, or you can email us if you so wish. I know that sending an email is so time consuming.
So dated. Who does that anymore?
Much like
if you would write a letter, P.O. Box. Let's get a P.O. Box, Paul.
Although my favourite thing, actually, very briefly talking about letters and stuff, someone posted snippets from newspapers in the very late 1800s saying that writing a letter was going out of style and no one ever did it anymore.
Wow. So why did school make me have pen pals then when I went through? That's a bunch of bullshit.
But anyways, email if you wish at either blokebusterpodcasts@gmail.com or contact at blokebusters.me. And pretty much anything you want to say, we'll listen to. Whatever, we don't care.
Feedback, we love it. So, or would love it if we get any ever.
Well, technically, we can currently say that we've had no negative feedback whatsoever.
Absolutely, that is what you call spin, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to run with that. All right, so going into nuts and bolts quickly, the director of this were actually two directors. We have Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. They were joint directors on this. Not to mention, I'm fairly certain they're also the joint writers on this.
Mm-hmm.
And the budget was $32 million.
They're pretty much the American Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
Writing together, you know.
I would love to see a bit more from them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Fine. Yes, budget $32 million. And the box office worldwide currently $77,081,836.
Not too bad.
Foreign, that is outside of the US, for anyone listening in the UK, just to do that.
You're foreign.
Only 2,400,000. So the rest of that is entirely US
nice
box office.
That makes sense, yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would like to see a demographic of who's buying the tickets. I'm guessing a lot of 18 to 35-year-old males.
Probably, yeah. I mean, not to say that there aren't that age or older or younger females that wouldn't be interested in this, but if we're going based solely on the stereotype of who Hollywood is aiming for, the 18 to 35 male
Well,
audience.
I'm sure a lot of women went to this as a stipulation of, yes, they're taking their boyfriend to go see the next Katherine Heigl piece of shit. Or Jennifer Aniston, or, Jennifer Garner, or whatever.
Or possibly Emma Watson. I don't know.
Oh, hey, don't trash my girl Emma. Hey,
no.
She's your countrywoman.
Yeah. I have nothing against Emma Watson. I just don't know where she's going to head now with her career, so it'll be interesting to follow that.
Perks of Being a Wallflower was great. Did you see that?
I have not, but I wanted to.
Yeah,
but
I mean, as far as like a formulaic rom-com, it's very well done. More coming of age,
right?
But
yeah, based on what I saw, that seemed like it. But at the time it was out, I wasn't able to get to the cinema, and it didn't seem to be out for that long.
It was pretty decent. Yeah, I was very surprised by it. But anyway, back to the task at hand.
So yes, now the cast list for this is a little bit longer than you would expect. I have written
and most of the cast is in the film very, very, very briefly.
Yeah. And so I have written down as many as I really would.
We should have split it up into Raptured and Not Raptured.
Well, to be fair, the Raptured one isn't that long.
Yeah, true.
Well, if you want,
I'm eating a Sasquatch stick, by the way, people. Yeah. That's the noise you're hearing.
Yeah, I'm not going to be bothered to edit that bit out.
And also drinking a strawberry Rita, so if I start to get a little sloshy at the end, that's why, folks. Yeah. Okay, continue, Paul.
Alright, so let's go straight into spoiler then, and say the Raptured side, at least of people that we know the names of, Jay Baruchel, Seth Rogen, Craig Robinson, and of everything I've got written down, that's it. However, I would like to think that Emma Watson probably is still out there fighting.
I don't want a heaven without Hermione. That's not my heaven. I'm wishing Hermione then.
I was sort of expecting to see her in the crowd at the end there, but whatever. And everyone else, we have James Franco, Jonah Hill, Danny McBride, Michael Cera, Rihanna, Jason Segel, Paul Rudd, Mindy Kaling, Martin Starr, Kevin Hart, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Aziz Ansari, Evan Goldberg, Charlie Walker, Channing Tatum, and David Krumholtz.
David Krumholtz. I was wondering if you would mention Krumholtz.
Yes,
Mr.
he
Numbers.
was last on my list there.
Yeah. Martin Starr, did you say? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much all the ones you've got there, I probably mentioned. And for the most part, they are all playing versions of themselves. And we were talking just before this, and we can't think of another film where, for the length of time this film is running, where you have so many people just playing themselves in this situation.
If you can stump us, please let us know.
Albeit the outlandish situation and the slight exaggeration of themselves. They are themselves.
Yes, they are there, as himself, whatever. That's what the whole credits is going to be, as himself. Sasquatch.
Yeah. Happy bastard.
All right.
So, I've actually coined a term for it as well. It's metapocalypse.
Meta?
Because very meta humor, which is probably half the reason why I liked it so much, is you see a lot of spoof films, they go with brief seconds of someone making fun of themselves. And I normally find that kind of funny because I do like the idea of celebrities that can make fun of themselves and can take how they're seen.
Yeah, going way back to like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Airplane. Or something. It's. Yeah,
and then you get this film where most of the joke is that all these people are pretty much themselves in this outlandish situation. And I loved it.
Yeah.
Right up my alley, that style of humour. There obviously was crude humour in the film, and I enjoyed that too, probably because of how they were doing it.
Yeah, it was a lot of blue humor, but it was clever blue humor, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't just simple dick and fart jokes.
Well,
So, not all,
yeah.
but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, there were a couple of scenes where they pretty much were just going for that, but the way they were doing it was...
But the actors have that license to play it so well, where
Yeah.
if it's just in a generic comedy or something, I don't think I would have been into it as much.
No,
But-
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like... You have your American Pie and Road Trip where they do that humour, and it's like, this film is based around that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't quite carry the film. You're supposed to really go with the characters, whereas this is, we know who the people are, and in this outlandish situation, they've stumbled upon this. This is how they're dealing with it.
Yeah.
And some of the arguments they end up having are just fantastic.
I did see where this probably was a problem from the writing aspect. I'm sure that I don't know anything about it in any interviews, but
Right.
I'm sure they had a trouble seeing where this film would go. Like, it's easy to get the premise right away,
Yeah.
but like once they kind of set up that premise in the first 20 minutes of the film, I thought, well, what's the filler going to be till the payoff?
Right.
What are they going? And oddly enough, I was entertained for that.
Yeah.
Intermittent period where they're just surviving in the house, or
Yeah. Well, if you look at it purely as a storytelling point of view, you get I'm going to say about 4 or 5 major plot points that happen. Like there's the Jonah Hill plot point, and then there's
the Jonah Hill and Jay relationship, which is absolutely hilarious.
and then that just culminates in a complete random off the wall demonic
rape demons. All we gotta say.
The way this thing is going, you're almost expecting them to actually do something to Jay, and no, it's more like
I love that though, because that is exactly how Jonah Hill's perceived, like this super nice guy.
Yeah.
It's just like, so super nice, but so super fake.
Yeah. Yeah, he really is nice, except the fact that he doesn't want to be nice to some people.
Yeah, that he fucking hates Jay.
I would love to see, after they stopped filming, how they then act.
Exactly, yeah. Were they still being themselves? Were they method? Like Mr. Lewis Daniel Day? Yeah.
Lewis Daniel Day. I like
Lewis Daniel Day. That's how that came out.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you, Strawberry Rita.
Oh, yeah, and what else? You have, obviously...
Danny McBride?
No, I keep
I do want to talk about
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson. Oh, absolutely awesome. Loved him in Pineapple Express.
And he has the over-arc of... He's kind of the most together, as it were, of that little group. But he has to go out, he sees what's out there, he's starting to, doubt what's really going on, and comes to the same conclusion that Jay does, what if this actually is the biblical apocalypse? Mm-hmm. Which, going out there is another point. I like the fact that this was actually a biblical apocalypse type thing. Like they actually fully went with demons on Earth, and
with the rapture, with people ascending into heaven.
Because so many apocalypse films, it is the meteors coming to Earth, or something that has happened on Earth is destroying the ozone or whatever, which is then going to destroy the Earth. And some people will then go off and say, God is angry at us, so this is what's going on. And no, this is actually straight on going with people are raptured and hell on earth is occurring. And it's
with increasingly large demons.
Yes, and increasingly large demon parts as well.
Yes. Very true. Yeah.
But and so it was refreshing to see they just ran with it. Clearly, $32 million isn't a huge budget, but they seem to be able to take most of that and shove it into the
It looked really good for $32 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure that most of the actors in it agreed to take less than what they normally
I'm sure
would.
a lot of them had scale, and
and they probably get it's probably they get more of the profits than they would have normally, but they got paid less in the beginning. So yeah, this is something that, even though I myself do not agree with that religion and that is how the world is going to end and all that, I like that they did go with it, and it was fun to see a real apocalypse.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, I use the term apocalypse because I don't really know any other word that I would use to do that, because I say
The
apocalypse.
rapture, yeah. Who knows?
Because I'm not going to say the rapture, because that's only, I guess 2 minutes of the entire film is actual rapturing.
Yeah.
The rest is just the more sort of, oh no, we're here on Earth.
Yeah. Been left behind. Oh, yeah.
Or about to be taken and then, nope! So,
Yes, must stay humble. Yeah.
So anyway, you want to talk about Danny McBride?
Oh, I love Danny McBride. Kenny fucking Powers himself, for all you Eastbound and Down fans. I love it. But he's, the guy that's kind of the outsider of the group.
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily invited to the party,
No,
but
definitely
crashed
wasn't
it.
invited, yeah.
But crashed it anyway. And
Ends up using most of their rations the morning after, because he doesn't know what's happened.
To make them always misunderstood his intentions. Always trying to be nice. And why am I the asshole? Kind of thing.
Even though he's just, some of the things he comes up with, it's like, no, that's why you're the asshole.
Yeah, he is an asshole, but I love it. And I love the real world kind of confessionals they do, especially, Danny McBride's. And I don't know, I just loved him throughout the movie.
Oh yeah, it was good. I don't watch a whole lot of the stuff that some of these people are in. Danny McBride, almost specifically. Jonah Hill, I'm not a fan of. Like, the only real things I've seen him in for any length of time would be Django Unchained and this.
I'm never going to say wow.
And,
So you didn't see Pineapple Express? Because that had Craig Robinson, Danny McBride,
Pineapple
Seth, Franco.
Express, that was, maybe if they were playing themselves and then everything happened exactly as it did, maybe I'd have been interested, but I'm not really that fond of the stoner comedy, as it were. So, Pineapple Express didn't appeal to me. Although I did like what they did with the fake
the fake sequel?
Sequel.
Oh, yeah. Pineapple Express 2.
Which I actually heard
Awesome.
from an interview that trailer is actually what they were seriously considering for doing Pineapple Express 2.
Yeah, but now they've done it in the film, so it'll never happen.
I think they actually are making a Pineapple Express 2, but I don't know any details about that.
I don't know.
But yeah, Danny McBride, the only time I can remember seeing him in anything else is actually Tropic Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
When he's just that special effect. Yeah! That guy, which is kind of what he is in this, actually. But very good.
He topped it for me with, I gotta say, one of the hardest times I laughed in the theater, and I can't remember when. Maybe the hardest.
Yeah.
But the exchange with him and Franco, with Franco having a little issue with him depositing items in a magazine. And
for spoiler cast, we're actually not spoiling this bit, are we? I do think this is funny, so yeah, this one you can't.
And it's just, it's just their argument and Franco getting animated and
both of them getting
I'll
animated.
do it wherever I want. Do it over here. I'll do it over there. Yeah, it's oh my god. I went to it by myself, and I was usually people like a friend there helps me laugh, or whatever. Otherwise, I'll just sit there and just watch it. But I was fucking laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
Oh god, it was great to just see the tension they're under and just it was hilarious.
Yeah, and that is a lot of the arguments you do kind of realize are just small releases for these people to try and get out some of what they're feeling about this massive problem that they're having. And then you just have some arguments that are just kind of, how did that... Well, that escalated quickly. Like when Emma Watson comes back and they offer her a place to stay, and then probably have an argument in the hallway.
Oh god, I completely forgot about that in the hallway. Yes.
I mean, from the trailer,
what we're all thinking. Yeah.
From the trailer, I thought it was going. Obviously, you saw Emma Watson, and then she burst into the house. It looked like she burst into the house and just tried to do it. And obviously in this one, that's not what happens. She bursts in and she's happy to see everyone. They offer her a place to stay. And so, Franco takes out the room, closes the door, and they all stand around in the corridor. And Jay Baruchel starts off trying to say, well, we should all just make her feel comfortable. There shouldn't be any tension.
She's the only woman here. Yeah.
And then one of them, and I'm fairly certain it's Danny McBride, says that he's basically saying that someone's going to rape her. And you then have a 1.5 minute long scene of everyone arguing about, if anyone was going to rape anyone, it's going to be you. And and then they cut to a couple minutes into Emma hearing this conversation in her room. Yeah, and it's the sort of thing of, I do wish that they hadn't said that Emma Watson was coming back in the trailer, because they show her exit from the house, and it hasn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. So it was the sort of thing of, I think that would have played funnier without that in the trailer. But then again, you need the line. It's just another instance of trailers being a piece of shit. They needed that line of Hermione took our stuff. Yeah, that was, I mean, I knew it was coming, but I still chuckled at it. Yeah, it was funny to see how it goes. I would have liked her in the movie more. I love Emma Watson, but her part was great. And I don't know if it was how my accent is and everything, but when she was talking, I only could really tell that she had an accent on a couple of words. Really? The rest of it to me just sounded like just regular talking, and then when she would say something, it would be like, oh, okay, that sounded very English to me. I don't know for you. I don't know. Maybe she's been working with a vocal coach to lose her accent. I was going to ask if where's she from? Is she a Londoner? Do you know? No. Okay. Doesn't sound like a London accent. If she sounds like it, she's not from London, no. Yeah. She's probably from the south of England, I would say, based on when I've seen her talking and how she is in Harry Potter. So I was going to ask if you felt she had that strong of an accent. Because I don't know if I'm losing British my touch. But I don't know. And this film actually goes several places that I didn't think it was going to. Oh, yeah. Perhaps we should get to the big spoilers. Sure, okay. Before I would say spoiler number one would be when Danny McBride becomes kind of the Mad Max bandit leader. Yes. And this is at a point when they're down to 3 people. Yeah, this is the third act. Definitely third act. Yeah. And he presents his gimp. Yeah. Very clearly a gimp, which I love any gimp in any movie. Yeah. And, he's... Are we going to say who played it, or shall we just say... I think we're going to say, because obviously I said spoilers, but yeah. So watch the film. Duh. Yeah. But if you're listening to it by now, I'm assuming you have. Yeah. Or don't care. But precisely. But Danny McBride is going on, about how awesome he is, or how much control he has over this gimp or whatever. And lo and behold, the gimp takes off his mask, and it is none other than Channing Tatum, bare-assed. I do think I found that very funny. I just thought, because he says I'm going to do all this to you, and he has him bare his ass to himself, and I think that happens immediately after they show who it is. I think it would have been funnier to do it the other way around. But I'm getting into the really sort of slight nitpicks. I just thought it was awesome, and Channing Tatum definitely got some cool points from me for doing that. Yeah, I mean, he is the sort of person that is just seen as he's going to star in the chick flicks. Yeah, he's the heartthrob, the new possible Bruce Willis action star. Yeah. But, I enjoyed 21 Jump Street for what it was, but... I've heard good things about that. And some of his other films, but I just thought, he's just going to be the cool action guy. But it was nice to see him take a shot at himself, really, and just completely bare himself, as it were. Yeah. Well, my question then would be, do you think that him in this was better than Michael Cera in this, like making fun of themselves, or... I mean, obviously, Tatum was a shock because I didn't know that was coming. Yeah. I had heard Sarah, he's what he played, and he's in the trailer, and, and there was a line in the trailer that they didn't say, because Sarah goes, "Is it bad?" Yeah. And I was waiting for that, and it was, occasionally you get that in trailers where it's an edited line, whatever. Or an alternative take. Yeah, an alternative. I wish most trailers were alternative takes. Yeah. I like that. But...
I think Sarah, just because I guess I'm more familiar with him, I thought that was funnier.
Yeah.
Just to see him play such an exaggerated version of himself.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the guy does blow, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I doubt he's blowing it in, McLovin's face.
Yeah. Or, of course, being walked in on in the bathroom with.
Oh, that was a great. Yeah, he's just so calm.
Yeah. Leading to one of, I think, the best lines in the film, said by Seth Rogen to Jay, of, just ask me one thing. Is Michael Cera's ass as cute as I think it is?
As cute as, yeah. I need to see that again, because there's so many one-lines that I missed out on. Because I was laughing from the previous scene. But, yeah. And I guess we'll go to, I don't know, anything else you want to say about the film before we get to that last spoiler?
I can't really think of anything else that I had lined up to say. I was going to say, who did you think was the best, quote-unquote, character? Like, was there one person?
Oh, Franco.
You think Franco?
Franco, absolutely.
Yeah, he did. He did that
with the R and not the Rogan, not the Rogan. I mean,
take me.
They're paintings of just their names in cursive. Seth Rogen, James Franco.
I did like the entire thing. I was like, I will give my life for you.
I do want to go through the film again just to see all of the set design because they had so much stuff from Freaks and Geeks, and so they had the Geeks painting or poster and free, all that in there. I'm sure there's tons of stuff to look at in there.
Oh yeah.
But I loved it. Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to say is more of a general question of, obviously this is the first big, as I said at the beginning, meta-apocalypse type thing, and I just want to know, do you think that we would need more like this film, or do you think, I kind of think that a film like this, maybe every 4 or 5 years, where people really get the chance to work on it, and maybe it's when the next group of stars comes out, the next group of people that are willing to make fun of themselves and do this, because it's the same as spoof film. You get a couple of good spoof films come out. Yeah. And then that's all that happens.
I'm waiting for the rip-offs, because when Gladiator hit it in 2000, then you had a series of sword and sandal films that all fell short. And what Hollywood forgets is that a film is successful like that because of its story, because of the way it connects with an audience, not just because of the genre.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a great story, you don't have a great cast, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So you get Kingdom of Heaven, or you get Troy, or,
Yeah, but I do think that this group of people, they clearly are all friends in real life, and all the stuff that they've worked on, and then it all culminates in them making fun of themselves in this actual sort of epic of a film.
So go ahead.
You're not going to get that in 2 years' time with a second group of people who are they just weren't in this film. They then get the B list, as it were, and they're going to make the B film.
See, I would like to see this film or this type of film with the older generation. I think that would be absolutely hilarious.
So
with Sean Penn and Tim Robbins and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
They're all those guys playing themselves. Like Sean Penn, who's a very, perceived serious actor.
Yeah.
Which there's a film I have in my Netflix queue that I haven't watched yet, where it's this is the place or something. I don't know. He's some weird rocker looking for his dad or something. Where he's really goofy, supposedly.
Right.
Which I'm happy to see him play, and not just some Mystic River.
Yeah.
Depressing ass role. But I would like to see those guys, the older school generation.
Yeah.
Goofing around playing themselves.
That could be interesting. I mean, the closest we have to that right now, they're not playing themselves, but Red and Red 2 is
I thought you were going to say the astronaut film. What was that? Cowboys. Space Cowboys.
Space Cowboys. Well,
that was
that was more sort of... no offense to them, but that's the geriatric type thing.
That was Tommy Lee Jones,
and Red and stuff is the more you wouldn't see them as the retirees. They're getting there, but they're not.
Now, did you have the Red 2 trailer on your screening?
I did not, but I have seen the Red 2 trailers.
Yeah. It looks enjoyable.
I am looking forward to it.
Which I haven't seen Red yet, so everyone tells me I should see it. But
well, count me in on that as well. I do think you should see that.
Is it on Netflix? When it's on Netflix, I'll see it. Yeah, I'm not paying at this point. All right, so I guess that's gonna. Wrap. Well, no. Spoiler.
Last spoiler.
I won't say it was a particularly funny thing, but you could not wipe the grin off my face during that whole performance. When they're in heaven, I don't know. I mean, as an American, I gotta say, I don't know if you connect as strongly, what. Because I'm a few years older than you.
No, it was around. It was around when I was
okay. Because it hit me that this group hit me at a point in my life, like Britney Spears and all this stuff, and the candy pop culture, all that just produced music.
I hated them at the time, with the exception of one song. But now it's more sort of a nostalgia thing.
But all we gotta say is Backstreet's back. All right. And oh my God, yeah, they're in heaven, and they got them all in the white suits. Yeah. And you got Kevin, and you got. I'm not gonna show how geeky I am by knowing most of their names, but yeah, you got them doing Backstreet's Back. I think that was the name of the song.
Yeah.
And then everyone doing the dance.
Everybody, but yeah,
almost everyone doing the dance. And like I said, the grin could not be torn away from my face. Yeah. I was loving it every second.
I liked it. I kind of wish that Seth Rogen had kept the segue for it, so he'd have been
pantomiming the segue. Yeah, right there.
But yeah, because obviously not going to say obviously, but whatever. I just did. At one point, they're in heaven, and he just decides you can get anything you want. Segway. Hey, I've always wanted one of these. And then you have the finale of Backstreet Boys, and it then vanishes, and he starts dancing. And I loved the whole thing. It was just a great ending to this film. Yeah. And as the credits were rolling, I was just walking out and thinking, "Oh, that was great." He should have kept that segue. He should have been the only one.
Can wish for another one. That's fine. Yeah, but it was I was wondering, like, as I was wrapping up, I'm like, how are they going to end this?
Yeah, because they're in heaven.
Yeah, like, where do you go from there? Yeah,
how do you finish this film?
How do you just cut to black? I'm like, yeah. So, but it was a terrific ending. Yeah, can't wait to watch it again. And
one thing I will say, I don't know how for some people going out there to see these films, when it comes to rating for it, like, this had an R rating. Most of the time they don't tell you specifically, like, exactly what will be in it. I know that they can't, but there are some films that, say, me and my wife might want to go and see, but let's say that we go and see and it's R, violent, language, whatever, don't care about that. But then there could be another R that's same group of people that we like, and all of a sudden there's loads of nudity in it or something. And that's the sort of film that we prefer. We'd rather not go and see films where every 5 minutes is, oh no, there's a naked girl. Oh no, there's a naked guy running around with it. And they seem to have now done away with those little things at the bottom of the trailers saying, oh, by the way, this has got this in it.
I think they still have that.
Well, on the trailer they'll have...
It's like pervasive language throughout.
Well, they try to, but now they used to...
of sexuality, whatever.
I don't know how it has always been in the US. In the UK, before every film, you have the trailers, and then just before the like the logo start, it's a little rectangle that comes up with the rating of it, and right next to it, it says, contains language or whatever. Whatever. And over here, I've never seen that. Oh. So going into a film, you can know it's R-rated, and that's pretty much all you know that it is, unless you've seen a trailer.
But I think, as an informed moviegoer, you need to know what an R rating could entail. And if you're offended by any of those things, you're taking a risk.
No, I do agree that to some extent it is entirely on you.
If you want to play it safe, go see a PG film.
Yeah, exactly. It's entirely on you to know where your boundaries might be.
Yeah, and I have none. I have none. I'm not going to be offended by anything I ever see. Ever, unless it's done in poor taste.
No,
which,
or just badly.
If it's done well, like, hey, I'm sorry if this is offensive, but if it's an AIDS joke, if it's a well done AIDS joke, I'll laugh. But if you're doing it just to be a hack, then fuck you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't have anything against those sorts of films or whatever. It's just, I wish that there were just a little bit more now of, like, oh, this contains a lot of nudity or just some nudity, or something so that when you're thinking, what film shall I see today? Or what film shall we see this weekend? I don't know. You then don't have to go searching for this specific thing. But this film, in case anyone is wondering, lots of language, lots of drug references, but Not so much of anything else, really. I mean,
No?
short of the implied but not really shown demonic rape, as we said.
Yeah. There's a little demon rape in there, but hey.
Yeah.
Don't be a square.
Yeah.
Enjoy some demon rape. Why don't you? But I think that qualifies as a poll rant. That's about as ranty as you're going to get from an Englishman.
Yes, slight indignation.
Slight upheaval.
I do wish that they had more tea and crumpets in these things. My goodness.
The scone is a bit drier than I desire.
And no clotted cream. No.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
All right.
So, shall we get into ratings then?
I guess we can rate this real quick. Yeah.
I think it's my turn to
Is
go
it yours?
first.
Yeah, go right ahead, sir.
Alright, on purely how much I liked it, and this is based solely on this one viewing, I can't speak for how it's going to hold up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll hold up some, but maybe not completely. I'm going to go with a minus 0.4.
Wow. Holy
However,
cow.
my critical rating, if I'm going to do it, is probably a minus 1. So still really good,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, solely how much I enjoyed this film and this style of humor, like all the meta stuff in it, yeah, minus 0.4 personally for me.
And I'm right at a minus 1. I'm just trying to not tie in my immediate love with it.
Yeah.
And trying to guess how I'll gauge it in the future.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a minus 1 for me.
Yeah, I do think it would be kind of cool if, say, in a year's time we revisit this.
I think it's going to be one of those comedies that's in my standard rotation.
Yeah.
Of Blu-rays, DVDs, that I pop in.
Yeah, maybe say once a year or so you bring it in and it's fresh.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be in with Groundhog Day and Caddyshack and Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Which was on the other day. I told you. Fantastic. I came in halfway through. Oh, it's great. Where, most of, Rick Moranis was being tested and, close to the end. Oh, yes. Do you want some more? Yes, have some. Yes, have some.
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Yeah.
One of the best Bill Murray lines.
This man has no dick. All right. How did we get to Ghostbusters? Who knows? Do we want to just run through some Armageddon if our runtime isn't too horrible here, Paul?
Sure. I think we got time.
Yeah. Let's just not going in too in depth here. Just some other apocalyptic films.
Yeah, and obviously because this is the end was such a sort of unique take on it. We don't have any that are specifically like that.
No.
But
it just spawned a discussion with us.
Yeah, these are going into some of the other apocalypse films and just sort of seeing, maybe even thinking briefly on how it's kind of evolved. Because let's say I would say the first real big one that everyone sort of took to is probably Independence Day, at least for me. Growing up, that was the first real end of the world type film that I knew of and that everyone saw and everyone was either loved it or just thought it was American propaganda. Hello, Mother. Yeah. I know there were.
Let me backtrack just a bit before you jump on Independence Day because I know you have nothing to contribute on this. I also this week saw World War Z,
right?
Which, although it's a zombie film,
I
do count it as an apocalyptic film because this virus or whatever, it spreads at such a rate that human extinction is very likely if a cure is not found soon.
Would you consider Contagion in contention for that?
I would, yeah. That was I love Soderbergh and that, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good film. Definitely don't go see it if you're a hypochondriac of any kind.
No, you will be Bill Murray and What About Bob? Baby step out of the office. Baby step into the elevator. But World War Z, I really enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Right.
And I will say there are some very slow parts in this film. And times where I wanted to look at the watch if I had one on. But
just how much longer have I got?
But when I'm kind of just counting seconds in between action scenes, and the trailer does give away way too much, like the wall climb, jumping on top of each other, and obviously that's a big part of the film. But it is interesting. I haven't seen a zombie apocalypse or anything of that nature where it's from a entire family's perspective.
Right.
It's usually the lone man, which Brad Pitt turns out to be.
Right.
But he's still in connection with his family, and they still cut to his family dealing with this.
Yeah.
With his absence, with the possible never seeing him again with the end of the world, possibly all that stuff. I've never seen that before, and it was nice to see that from what is portrayed as a typical American family.
Yeah,
and how they suffer through this and what their emotions are.
I can see that. Yeah, and as I was telling you about before, I will probably not see this film mainly because I'm in the camp of I read the book, not when the book came out, but a while after. I managed to get it fairly cheaply, and I thought it was a fantastic book. Actually written by Mel Brooks' son, so I found it interesting when I figured out who he was. And I then heard they were making the film, and I thought, oh, that's going to be kind of cool. And then I found out what the film was going to be like, and I realized that they took the fact that there was a zombie apocalypse, and they took the name of the book, and then they made a film, and it's a completely separate thing, but I will
Which I still argue, I think every book lover needs to go into a film that's based on a book knowing that it is allowed to exist as a separate entity, that you must separate the book from your mind.
I do agree with that to some extent, because I know that there are... you can have obviously badly done book film that, people will say, oh, well, that really is just a bad version of the book.
That's a completely different format. There's no way you can satisfy a book reader. Because you have 700 or 800 or 900 pages to relay a story, where you have 2 hours to convey a story.
No, I will say probably the best example I can think of, the Harry Potter series. Okay. I thought the films were done well. I was in the camp of, I just thought what they should have done was split up the fifth film into 2 parts, because there were so many little things in the book that weren't in there that would actually have been good to see. But, that's again a little niggle. And I can see that. I read the books and liked it. I saw the films and liked them. But it's the fact that it's a World War Z film, but the film actually just isn't the book. It really isn't. And anyone that's read the book will know what I'm talking about. And I have a problem with that, because it really is just books that are made into films I'm fine with. Books that are made into a film, but they may as well just have ripped out the entire pages and just taken the cover. Yeah. That's basically what they did with this.
Yeah, I can't think of examples, but I know what you mean. I've thought of them before, where it's like, this is nothing.
Yeah,
but
that is.
And I was apprehensive, because I heard there were a lot of reshoots, and they reshot the ending of this, and that made me like, well, if they're that worried about it, what was the outcry? But
I think I remember reading about that, and I think the problem was that the ending was too depressing for the studio execs, and they were told they had to change it.
Yeah, because it's, spoiler, but it's set up as a franchise now. It's set up as a very likely sequel.
Yeah. So,
yeah. But anyway, okay, that was World War Z. I liked it. Paul will never know it. So let's, I think, before we keep you too long, let's just run through a quick list of Armageddon.
Yeah, Armageddon.
In my guilty pleasure episode.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Willis, I find for the most part you can't really go wrong with him.
Well, I hate this phrase. I really do. It is what it is. I hate that phrase, but it is what it is. Yeah, it does have its uses, and this describes Armageddon.
Yeah, it's one of those films that
it's no more, no less.
Yeah, that they were tossing about ideas, and it's like a meteorite heading for Earth. Bruce Willis can start. That's it. Yes, told. There we go.
Yeah. And get a lot of big actors at the time. Affleck was coming up, and so you get him.
Yeah, and it just
Billy Bob, and
it just turned into sort of.
And you get the Aerosmith song in there, and then it's blockbuster.
I would sort of argue, as I was saying, Independence Day, like it was the big sort of America Saves the World, blah blah blah, that thing. This is kind of the same kind of thing. Like, a bunch of Americans go up and obviously there's the Russian on the satellite. I'm not saying it's specifically this, but it kind of in the same vein to me as we're going up there to save the world type thing.
And like I don't want to repeat myself too much in that podcast, but it is one of those films that's on TV, and I will watch as much of it as I can when I catch it on. Yeah, it just for some reason it wraps me up. But and then we have I would say its less known brother, the one with the chip on its shoulder. Deep Impact with Morgan Freeman as the president
and Elijah Wood as the somewhat younger than you would have thought at the time looking kid who is just trying to save his girlfriend.
Yeah, and you have Taya Leone. I really enjoyed it. I think it gets a bad rap from a lot of people, but
well, it's seen as an Armageddon clone, even though I think it was about.
Even though you got to realize these films are in years of planning and writing, and it's just. So happens they come out relatively close to each other.
What we were saying earlier, we might actually at some point end up doing a podcast where we do sister films, as it were, and Armageddon and Deep Impact would be one example. The most recent is, of course, the two White House films.
Yes.
Like, the chances of those coming out within 3 months of each other.
And we're not talking about films that are immediately released because of a film's success. Yeah. Like you have the Transmorphers on Netflix, which is off of the Transformers. Or
Snakes on a Train.
Or Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you're just trying to ride the coattails and hopefully you make a couple $100,000 for your $60,000 movie.
That Abraham Lincoln zombie one, that's on Netflix too.
It is, yeah. My roommate said, do not watch it.
I was trying to convince my wife to watch it just because it would be something we could sit and groan over.
It couldn't be any worse than the Vampire Hunter.
We like that.
Yeah, you suck.
It might be because we saw it in 3D. It was the first film my wife ever saw in 3D that she enjoyed the 3D. So that helped her, and I
guess I couldn't have heard it.
Yeah,
it's like Dread for me. It's like the best part of the film.
Yeah, okay, we're not going to agree on this.
Okay, yes, no, horrible acting. Yeah, fuck that movie. The Core. I enjoyed that movie.
So did I. It was one of those films that I was.
It's implausible, obviously. Yeah. As of this point, but
and of course, spoiler for that film, you find out that the reason it's implausible is that scientists in real life would never actually do what they did in the first place, which would make the core stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
but obviously,
we're going to do this
building a vessel that can travel to the center of the Earth is, I mean,
the entire setup is, the magnetic core is disrupting because the core is not going to be turning very shortly. We need to get down there and fix that. And you find out that scientists decided to put something down there which made it stop. And you'd think at some point in real life, as this were happening, it's like, okay, so what are the possible side effects of this new, say, energy source? I'm not sure what it was. It's like, well, there could be slight temperature rise, or, the core could start spinning. Sorry, go back.
It's like that depression medicine that leads to suicide. You're like, wait, hold on. That's kind of what I wanted to avoid.
Shall we go back to the drawing board with this one?
Yes, that is an effect, not a side effect. Yeah. But, enough on the Core. Sunshine, which I don't think is a film you've seen.
I have not, although...
It's 50 years into the future to reignite the sun, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's the Core in space.
Yeah. Stuff happens.
Stuff happens. It's okay.
You could sum most of these up with stuff happens, really.
The Day After Tomorrow, didn't care for that one.
I lump this in with zombie films as not officially apocalypse, mainly because it's... this is... The Day After Tomorrow is just... very quick, as in it all happens in a week. Climate change.
And I can seriously not tell you one single plot point of that film. I found it completely forgettable.
Well, they had to huddle in a library.
Okay.
It was too cold at once.
Sure, I know I saw it, but like I said, gun to my head, I could not tell you one detail or one line said in that film.
There's actually a film, I cannot remember, 2012, which I don't know if you had written down.
No, I refuse to see that as well.
One of my favourite comedians, called Dara O'Brien, he rips it apart by saying the opening scene is this thing, a guy turns up, started a hat, briefcase, very obviously in a hurry. He turns up at this tent where these people are working, and it's like, I came as soon as I could. Like, what is it? And the guy's like, we've had some amazing discoveries. And he says, number one, the man that turns up then doesn't say, well, why didn't you fucking email? And then the guy says, the neutrinos have mutated, and they're heating up the planet. And then at the end of the film, everything is completely back to normal. So this event that has never happened in the history of the world happens twice in 1 week. And he points out every scientist in the history of the world would have said to this one guy, no, check it again. You're wrong. It's so many of these films are really based around these so loose it almost somewhat hurts. So science of how, no, we just accept these things happening. I mean, obviously, I think Armageddon and Deep Impact so far would be the closest to we'll accept it, because a giant object in space hitting Earth, that's actually something that could happen.
Yes, and there are institutes dedicated to fighting those NEOs, I think, near-Earth objects, what they're called.
There's near-Earth objects, which are ones that they study just in case, and then they're always searching for the ones that will be passing very close by.
So I don't know. I wanted to mention Dogma, because that's one of my favorite Kevin Smith films.
Very good film. And
Bartleby and Loki. And,
I kind of
and you have the devil. Yeah, it is apocalyptic.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that the premise of this film is if these two angels walk through that door, the world will end.
Yeah.
Well, the universe will end, actually. I think so.
And Kevin Smith will get tons of hate mail and death threats. And there's a giant poop monster. Right. That's all you need to know.
And Alanis Morissette.
Oh, of course, yes. There's God herself. Spoiler. All right. Independence Day, were you done on? I think it's fun. Yeah, on rewatching, it's less fun for me. Yeah, it gets a little more cheesy and hokey as time goes on.
It's another one of those issues of, as I was saying with some of the other films, there's bits in it where they expect you to just go with it. Like, for instance, the fact that this one guy can create a computer virus for an alien software in about 4 hours on a Mac.
There's definitely some Deus Ex Machina in there. It's just like, okay, we're going to create this thing and it's going to work. Yeah. Okay. Keep the story moving, folks. Keep the story moving.
I mean, if you really want an in-depth discussion on those sorts of things, there are probably several hundred podcasts out there that will rip into all of these. Yeah. I'm just pointing out that
it's a blockbuster, it doesn't have to entirely make sense.
It was actually, for me, one of the first blockbusters that I was aware of. I mean, I think Jurassic Park and Independence Day were the first where I really started to realize, there are actually some films that are build up during the summer. They build up this film, and this is the film everyone will go and see. And now that's maybe 20 a summer, rather than like 2 or 3.
And only a few of those are going to hit. Actually, they think everyone's going to be a huge success, but so it's enjoyable. Like, it still has its charm, but like I said, it's lost a little bit for me in repeated viewings.
I mean, I will say that if we're going to like rate sort of Armageddon films, This Is the End for me is now the top end of the world film, and it's mostly because I think of the other films. I mean, Dogma is very close just because I love Kevin Smith. I love that style, and I think he made a fantastic film. And this could be just coming off the fact that I saw this film today, but This Is the End is an end-of-the-world film that was just so well done. I found the characters were, quote-unquote characters, were done in such a way that I was following all the way through. I was laughing at loads of points they were making you laugh at. I was laughing at some points that maybe they weren't trying to make you laugh at. And all of these other Armageddon end-of-the-world films, they do start the cheese factor, and that was actually something that was missing from this film, I found.
Yeah.
Is the cheese was not there.
Just briefly, and also I don't have a whole lot to say on, but a couple classics that have been remade, War of the Worlds and Day of the Earth Stood Still, which I've both seen the originals, have not seen either one of the remakes.
I have
with
seen
Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves, respectively, I think.
I have seen the remake of The Day of the Earth Stood Still. I have seen half an hour of the remake of War of the Worlds, and I've seen half an hour of the original War of the Worlds, and I have not seen any of the original.
But I just wanted to give a shout out to that to say that it is a genre that dates way back. That's all I wanted to bring that up for.
Yeah, and it's definitely, if you actually think about it, back then, Armageddon would have basically been these giant things turn up and are threatening humanity. Like, for instance, the Day of the Earth Stood Still, there's an alien that comes and is judging humanity. And then, if you think about it, how many films were there where there were giant ants are coming to kill humanity, or the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman,
or Starship Troopers,
I mean, all of these films where there are end of the world type things, and then as time went on, I think the budget started to get bigger, the effects started to get better, and they became more of a staple of blockbuster territory rather than every year it's like, what's going to be the sort of giant monster attacks Earth type thing.
I think at its time, War of the Worlds was kind of a ballsy thing to do. It's not.
I've read
more difficult thing I would think to get made, because
I've read the original. I don't know.
Quite outlandish to, the end of humanity,
Yeah, the story the whole thing is based around is such a fantastically well done story. And
which everyone's heard, yeah.
I hear the original film actually came very close to doing that, which at the time would have been really risky. And almost the first sort of eco-conversationalist.
Yeah.
So it's... conversationalist? What the hell am
I don't know. But yeah, you're dealing with people that have been through wars and stuff, and they're very,
Yeah, the world
very troubling
could have ended
times.
for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I just briefly want to bring up the point as well the inherent problem with a lot of these films is that this hasn't happened yet. So no one knows what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for an audience member to put themselves in that place because they have no idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So you're asking a big leap of faith there, which is why This Is the End was so smart. It's a straight up comedy.
Yeah.
So I don't have to connect with the characters essentially. I can just enjoy it from my perspective of watching these idiots deal with this.
Well, you can think with the comedy thing as well. They show so much of what happened to so many other people. You can think, would you have run outside, for instance? Or would you have stayed in the doorway and watched it happen? Mm-hmm. Because, for me, if there's a gigantic earthquake going on and I see there's like big problems going on outside, I'm going to stay within the house boundaries.
I'm going to get in the bathroom or in the basement.
Yeah, maybe like look out the top floor window. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so I think I would have survived the initial opening. I can't speak about
you
past
fallen in the sinkhole. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. I'm spent, Paul. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not too sure we can carry on talking about the end of the world. I don't know.
I don't have any Netflix recommendations this week. Check out your queue, folks. There's good stuff on there.
Yeah, I don't have anything either, mainly because I've not had the time to do that. I've been very busy at work recently, so this week, however, I will have a fair amount of time off, so hopefully next time there'll be something.
Not The Hunger Games is mine, because I watched The Hunger Games, despite every instinct I had. And I thought, 4 stars, I should probably just give it a try.
Right.
No. All I gotta say, hour and 8 minutes into that film, before the games start.
Yeah.
Hour and 8. Battle Royale, someone dies in like the first 10 minutes of that film. And if you're gonna have kids killing kids, get it going, folks.
Yeah.
All right. Hunger Games rant.
All right.
That's going to do it for me. I've been Brian.
And I've been Paul.
We'll see you next time, folks.